As many of you guys know, Killjoy went through some massive changes in this most recent patch 1.11. In this video, we're going to quickly go over those changes if you don't know what they are already. I'm going to try to give you tips on how to play Killjoy with all of these changes. I played her all day today. We ended up playing 12 games, going 9-3, and I am now back in Immortal 3, which is sweet. So I think I have a pretty good idea of how to play her on this new patch, and honestly, she is nuts. I will be releasing a video on attack setups as well as defensive setups in the near future, but this is just going to be general tips so that you guys can learn how to play her with this new patch because a lot has changed. But she is still really strong and really viable, and honestly, in my opinion, a lot more fun to play. If you haven't seen the changes for Killjoy in this patch, here they are really quickly. If Killjoy is more than 40 meters away from either her alarm bot or her turrets, they will go inactive, meaning that they're just going to sit there unable to shoot or detect if people are nearby. So a lot of people think that this is just a massive nerf to Killjoy, but they changed the cooldown for picking them up. If you pick up the turret, it has been reduced from 20 seconds down to 10 seconds, which is insane. And with the alarm bots, even more, 20 seconds to 7 seconds. So for example, if you're playing on like B site bind and you have both of your utility down, if you pick them up and rotate to A, you can put down both of your utility aggressively to retake a site, which is so much more fun and gives you so many more options. The nanoswarms didn't change too much. They got a little bit of a buff. Enemies now can't see them unless they are within 3.5 meters. It was previously 5 meters, so you probably won't get your mollies shot out too much in comparison to the old patch. And the damage was increased from 40 a second to 45 a second. Not a crazy change. And this last change I think was just needed. It's not crazy, but basically how the damage used to tick was in chunks of 10, and now it ticks based on how much time they're in, so it'll just like smoothly do damage instead of doing chunks of 10. Now that we've gone over all the changes, I'm going to talk about how I think you should play Killjoy with all of these changes in mind. I'm just going to let some of my best clips from yesterday's stream play. By the way, if you have any questions for me or want to see me play Killjoy live, I stream pretty much every day in the evenings PST at twitch.tv/Keeoh. The link will be in the description, or you can just go to twitch.tv/Keeoh. Would love to see you there. So, let's get into it. On attack, for the beginning part of the round, I play Killjoy pretty similar. You can put your turret up in a common position, watching the flank, but as soon as you run out of the range that the turret can see you in, you want to pick that turret up and place an alarm bot as you're pushing into one of the sites behind you, just to make sure that people aren't going to be behind you, and most likely your alarm bot will still be in that 40 meter range as you enter into the site, and then you can actually use your turret aggressively. This just gives your team a ton of information as to where they're going to be coming in, especially if you've already cleared a site. This is also really, really strong on pistol rounds. The best thing that you can do with the Killjoy changes is just communicating with your team where the enemies might possibly be on the map, especially when your utility is down. They might be able to walk past your turret while it's down and be in a position where you might not expect them. And just communicating that with your team, making sure that they're aware that their flanks aren't totally covered most of the time, is going to be super, super important. Because of how I've been playing Killjoy with this patch, I actually did not go for a Killjoy Molly lineup one time today, which is really shocking because I actually really enjoy doing it, and I think they're really important. But with how I was playing her today, there was no need for them. It was way better for me to just hold down site with my team using my utility on site. So I think there still is room for Killjoy Molly lineups, but I think they're going to become a lot more niche and a lot less common. So yeah, you can still make sure your flank is covered. The problem is you just don't have like most of the map covered like you used to. You know, when you push a site, you kind of just need to throw your utility down behind you, at least one of your things, your alarm bot or your turret, and then use the other one on site aggressively. And this just covers so many more options and gives you way more information and is way more fun. Now on defense, most of my defensive setups are within 40 meters of each other, so defense doesn't change too much. The only thing is you have to play a little more passive because if you die, your turret and your alarm bot go inactive. I don't know if I went over that in the changes, but they go inactive if you die. I forgot to mention that, so anyway. This means you should be the last person to rotate off of your site. Since your utility is only useful if you're within 40 meters of them and you're alive, you should 1, never be the first person to die on your team, and 2, be the last person to rotate off of the site you're holding on defense. I would recommend staying on site until your team clearly communicates that they are 100% committed to the opposite site that you are on. Overall, I think Killjoy got a massive buff in this update. Her skill ceiling has shot through the roof. You have so much more freedom to use your utility in unique ways. I've actually used my alarm bot to clear corners. I wouldn't recommend doing this every time, but it's on a 7-second cooldown, so if they don't shoot it, you just know that they're not going to be around that corner, and then you can pick up your alarm bot and use it in a different spot. So, using your utility aggressively on attack and defense is super important, and honestly, it makes playing Killjoy way more fun. Alright, I think that's it for this video. I'm going to keep it kind of short. Again, I'm going to have an attack setup guide and a defensive setup guide coming out very soon, as well as some Sky content. If you're interested in any of that, please consider subscribing to the channel if you are new and liking this video. Also, if you have any more in-depth questions before I drop those other videos, please come to my Twitch stream, ask me any questions about Killjoy, Valorant Ranked, or anything about streaming in general. You can check me out at twitch.tv/Keeoh. Again, I'm live in the evenings PST, and I would love to see you there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and have a great rest of your day. Peace.